what he likes.
So, because today's topic, what I like to talk about with you, is called Fun Times of EVs and IVIs. And, you know, e-mobility is everywhere in these days, to the point where we could have called this talking e-mobility, I guess. But let's have a quick mini history of electric vehicles. EVs is electric vehicles for sure. So what do you think might be a nominal starting point of EVs? What comes to mind for you? I can give you a little bit. So electric cars, they can be tracked all the way back to the late 19th century. Yeah, so there's a year 1884. Pretty early. But the main drivers that renewed interest in electric cars were in the 1990s and 2000s, in which, like, you know, the concerns about air pollution, climate change, depletion of fossil fuels, definitely the main driver. And yeah, the first electric car in the modern world was 1996. It was General Motors, and I brought one of those EV1, it's called. That's how it looked back in the day. Maybe we can put that a little bigger. Oh, that was too big. Yeah, so that's General Motors EV1. And since we're also talking about IVIs, let's have a quick look into the interior. That's how that looked.
Very fancy.
Back in the day. The thing is, I think it's quite fancy if you look at the front part. See, there's even like displays already, and you can see it's in a position which is unusual for the 1996 area. And then the very most famous car is the Toyota Prius Hybrid. That's from 1997. Let's have a quick look. I think most people will recognize that one, but that's the Toyota Prius. Obviously, it looks more futuristic nowadays. There's still versions of it. And also, let's have a look into that interior. That's how it looks. Oh yeah, that was too big.
It's very advanced for a 90s.
Yeah, also note there's the first level of gamification. So people, you know, they were drawn to that graphical interface there, which kind of shows the combustion engine combined with the electric motor. And you could literally play the game of how to consume less while watching the graphics. So that was a very interesting part where EV, the electric part, and the infotainment system kind of like, you know, first made more sense together rather than just listen to music.
It's really interesting to know that, because isn't that what people are still trying to make in cars nowadays with this gamification? How do you drive greener in a sense with the less energy consumptions? Yeah. That's a very advanced innovation for them.
It is. And I mean, obviously it's important to mention that it's definitely a starting point in terms of the, you know, everyone knew the Toyota Prius. But it's a hybrid. It's not an electric vehicle. It's not 100% only electric motors. It's a hybrid. But it wasn't until the launch of the Tesla Roadster in 2008, you know, that's definitely became a real seller. Let's have a look at the exterior. That has been 2008. I mean, it's a good picture of it, but it looks super futuristic at that time already.
Like usually, if you have those parts on the, I actually don't know how is that called, but that was for letting air in, right? But if that's e-vehicles, why do they need all those? I saw that was only for the engine too.
No, it's not only for engine cooling, but also for the aerodynamics. That's what I wanted to say. It's for the aerodynamics. So I'm not an expert in that, but obviously you want to have good aerodynamics with an electric vehicle too.
I would wish Tesla would go back to that track and produce some of those.
Oh, I brought some stuff for you later, I think. So that has been the interior in 2008, quite classic, but we want to mention the lower part here in the middle. There's also already this display. It showed you some information about the battery, also some extra info. So already, at least, you have 3 screens. You have the so-called combi display, where it shows you how fast you are and some of your consumption. Then you have the classic media mid display, and a lower display for extra information, which has been maybe a little fancy.
And that's actually also like the information that pump up to me when I look at it, is they really have a dedicated like meters or screens for different system. You see that they want to bring all this like the car part, the fun of the driving, the speed and everything in one part. And you need to have your infotainment to have music and other things in one part as a computer in the car, let's say. And then of course for the battery part, for the energies, you need another like panel to display that. And that's very interesting attempt of them.
It's an interesting approach. Yeah. I agree. Brought one more picture of that interior. As you can see, there's different versions. So this one has a definitely less of a big display. I'm not 100% sure if this is something some customer built, you know. I'm not sure about this. When you go into research, there has been definitely different versions out there, what people bought. But still, you have that small display in here in the mid part of the section, and then the combi display over here behind the steering wheel, and here a classic radio.